a sort of a predatory, strong, powerful energy that's kind of held up high in the chest. Around a 7, you may feel more of a scintillating, kind of moving energy, kind of like Roadrunner. It's like you can't quite. It's really fascinating and sparkly, but you can't quite grab a hold of them. Around on the 6s, you may actually start to feel a little anxiety or a little amped up kinds of feelings. And once you start to understand that that's coming from their auric and chakra structure, and then you start to understand how that creates the body build that they have, you start to see that's all one big package. And we do a workshop on that, on core energetics, but you also can pick up a book like Barbara Ann Brennan's Hands of Light, which is a really good introduction to the idea of core energetics and character structures in terms of how they play out on an energetic level. Katherine?
Okay. So micro-expressions are what I've touched on a little bit, and David has as well. But the main thing you're going to be looking for is where the tension is held in the face. The body is also important. The way it's actually used, are the shoulders rolled in? Are the shoulders straight? Is the body upright? Are they standing on one leg? Now, we've certainly learned to use this with instincts, but it's also very indicative of type. And if you can tell a celebrity's instinct, or they predictably use the same posture, even when they're caught by TMZ, or when they're not planning to pose, and you see it repeatedly, it gives you a clue. Just as in magazines like Star, you'll know if the gossip is potentially accurate if you have an assessment that someone's a particular type, and then the gossip is the problem area of that type. Then you'll know, well, this is probably pretty close to being true. Or at least the source maybe is someone who has an idea of what's going on and not just something entirely made up. And when it doesn't, and it's not consistently the same, then you know that it may or may not be accurate. But if it's always the same and problematic in the same way, there's a strong, strong chance that you're on to the type. So when you're adding it in as one more assessment, it amplifies the possibility. Again, when you really have seen enough people accurately typed that have the facial gestures and the body structure and the movements and the micro-expressions, you'll start to just know type and then break down why you think that person's potentially a certain type. But you have the impulse first. I remember when I first studied with Naranjo, he said it was far more important to let type bubble up than to try and type someone. That if you just put people in an environment, you would see it surface much more readily than if you're trying to say, are you this, are you this, are you this, are you this? And inquiry, an in-depth inquiry, helps to bring that out. But it also brings out the defense strategy of the person that you're interviewing. So both are almost more accurate, putting the two together. So with the micro-expression, notice the forehead, as I mentioned earlier. Does it have the look of concern? Is it pronounced? The eyes, are they downcast and soft? Are the eyes big and watery and luminous? Or are they piercing and penetrating? Or are they questioning? Do they blink? Are they tracking? All these are indicative of type. The nose is a good indication not just of anger, but the flaring is. We often see this with type 8 because they're always holding their anger down. Just as the heart types are trying to hold their emotions at bay, the gut types are trying to hold their anger, and it will often show in the nostrils. Now, any of us will do that when we're angry. It'll flare. Ears, do they go back because we're questioning? Do our brows arch on one side? Which side is it? And if you look at the eyes, is there one eye that's kind of dead and the other very alert? Or are they both soft? All these elements are indicative of type. And when you get down to 2, it might be the part that says, wow, there's the distinguishing characteristic. The question to ask is, what is the most dominant feature I notice? And it isn't necessarily on the individual itself, but with the expression. Like with 4s, the nose often looks like it's just out of joint. You know, it curves to one side, and maybe even the mouth goes off to one side. I'll see this with heart types, or 4s in particular, or people that have a line of connection to 4, where there's just moving the nose to feel comfortable, to the left or to the right.
You want to show them my nose?
Sure, sure.
I actually have this, and to be perfectly fair, I didn't. My nose was broken, however, it was like this before it was broken. It's just more like that now. But if you look at it, it actually turns to the left a little bit. And we don't know why physiologically, but many, many, many 4s will have a slight curve, so we should look at Tara and Sam. Did yours?
I was in an automobile accident, and they didn't know what was wrong, so they put me in a brace and all that. And then they looked at my nose and they said, have you ever broken your nose? Which I hadn't. And it wasn't broken then. They said it's not straight. It goes off to one side.
Yeah.
And then what will correspond to that is the mouth will slightly go off to one side, and then it matches. And that's why so much of the time with some plastic surgery, the reason it doesn't work is that that factor has not been included, that feature, rather, has not been included as an important factor. And so then it looks like something else is off, and then people say, oh, I need to change this. So the general sweep of your eyes, I mean, I'm not saying anything against anyone that wants to have plastic surgery, it's just go to someone that's an artist and that follows your own features. The other thing is, what is the body language? Is the person inviting? Is their energy receptive? Or do you sense those boundaries? Is it imposing in some way? So what is it that you notice about that body language? And does the body language match the features? So if someone has very gentle, soft eyes,